kind of national issues, but made from a different angle. And please let me introduce Dr. Mariusz Patey, who is a member of Rybarski Institute, a Polish organization made by, actually pro-market nationalists. And please give an applause. And please listen carefully and ask good questions, because this is why we have the very different speakers and quite similar topics, because we want you to think about that kind of ideas and to have some kind of clash of them.
Well, it was my pleasure to be invited for libertarian meeting, conference. I may be not exactly fit to that great idea, but Polish nationalism we define a bit different than, in Germany it was defined in 30s or even 20s. Western European nationalism is still, nowadays is still, I think, different to just a Polish meaning. We use two words like nationalism and chauvinism. And chauvinism is, what my previous lecture described, and nationalism for us it's more like a patriotism, when it's like very subjective feeling of something like community. For Polish people it's like a community of common culture, language, habits, tradition, a long tradition, 1,000 years, and also some specific solutions which we had for our country, for our Commonwealth, developed 400 years. It was ended by occupation of three imperial states like Prussia, Russia and Austria. That our nationalism developed a bit, I think, different way. I just maybe remind a definition of a Pole, which was given by a Polish philosopher connected to Polish national wing, Wincenty Lutosławski. The Polish nation includes Germans, Tatars, Armenians, Gypsies, Jews. If they live together and build idea of Poland, a black or red-skinned man can become a real Pole if he accepts the spiritual heritage of the Polish nation, including literature, art, history, habits. If he has an unbreakable will to contribute to the development of a national being, then it's like in opposition to that understanding of a nation given by some German nationalists in 20s or 30s, were they based on blood and race, yeah, just the meaning of a nation. Then Polish right wings usually was also very open to economic freedom, but also it was we took consideration into what we said national solidarity, because well, just in that our society, they were just rich people who were successful, and the poor people who just from some reasons were not able to participate in like civilization offers. And then after First World War, when 90% of the Polish economy was destroyed, then and we were under the Soviet propaganda at that time, then our right wing had to solve that social problems, and then they develop that idea of national solidarism, which was not against economic freedom, because they believed that free market brings nation economy up, then it will be more values to distribute into that poorer groups of society. Then economic ideas of Polish national political parties as an attempt to synthesize of German and Austrian schools. Then we could find some inspirations from two, what, just during courses of the history of economy, usually opposed, like German National School of Economy and the Austrian one. And rightly pointing that two schools had different resources and inspirations. Austrian school inspired more of positivism, and German national school more of romanticism. Then one of creators of German School of Economy, Adam Miller, claimed that nation wealth is not only tangible but also intangible assets, people's talents, culture, knowledge and tradition. And that concept was developed by Richard List, and he believed that economic studies should take into account a number of non-economic factors, including culture, customs, history of a given nation. And according to him, between the individual and state is a nation, and he called it like ethnical organism. Nation determines communication of generations, which in turn create a joint effort for the economy. And they into free market they were skeptical, They thought that free market is a good for developed economies like British, but for Germany, Germany should first develop the industry, and then later on they could go into that more liberal concept. Then they recommended to use taxes and duties to let German industry grow. And then they showed the sample of Denmark. And Denmark in 19th century used free market policy in Great Britain, and but they used quite assertive policy for their market, and then they exported with success agriculture product to British market, and that's why they had opportunity to build strong agriculture in their country, which is strong till now, and it's one of major economic success, well, just till now. Then Poland, well, in Poland we had, well, after First World War, the problem that two big organizations, economical organizations in the countries like Germany and Soviet Union, they blocked their market for Polish products, and then Polish economists tried to find a solution because in Poland was not able to develop after First World War. Then just in Polish national bloc, there were different recipes. Well, just that group of economists which were more like influenced by German School of Economy, they advise to make a symmetry answer for that assertive politics of Germany and Soviet Union. But it was also, but it's interesting that Polish nationalist Adam Heidel advised something opposite, just let make duties lower. Then just let's give our people cheaper products. Then, as we see that Polish nationalists, they were nothing with German Nazi movements, or like National Front in France, or just fascists in Italy, or well, in Spain or Portugal. And in fact, they also try to fight with socialists for Polish democracy. Roman Rybalski argued that he is Polish patriot, nationalist, when he believes in Polish nation, then he believes that Polish parliamentarism is the best system because on the end nation choose rational, and sometimes that all experts and politicians make mistakes and provide nation to crises. Yeah, then it's I think better to say that like a Polish nationalism in economy was more close to ordoliberalism. Just that school was developed from 30s by German conservatives, Catholics, and then they were able to develop after First World War, when Nazi failed, and well, 20 years before, well, in Poland, that ideas were developed by Polish national economists, but opposite to Germany, we had no chance to adopt the ideas in our country because well, festival in 1939, Germans invaded Poland and they killed most of our economists. They exterminated like 80% of population of academic teachers till 1945, and then the rest did Soviets when they came to our territories, and then well, we had communism in a Soviet version, and of course that economic ideas which did not fit to that socialist and communist ideas were forbidden. Then after the Soviet Union collapsed, well, in Poland we mostly had like liberal ideas, and in opposite, post-communists created some socialist social democracy, and then it was like argue of two big blocks, and then our movement was a niche, as we can say, and also just usually well, we must defend from people who just use us as nationalists, Nazists, anti-immigrants, that we won't discriminate somebody. Well, in Poland we have another problem that Polish people discriminate themselves. If we observe like customer preferences when Polish people rather prefer to buy products made outdoor than indoor. Then I think we should festival just to educate people, just to believe more into their like possibilities, believe their country, their products. Because they will not have international success. Well, just why, like in other markets, they should choose Polish if Polish people do not choose that products in their country. Yeah, just when our nationalists rather do not. Well, it's not like a proud of Poland that we are like a better than others. We rather want to make equal just Poland to others, and that's a difference. Then also we understand, we remembered our history, our roots, and it was a history of republicanism. Poland, I think, was one of the first republics well, it was a kind of course it was a kingdom, but our kings were elected, even our judges were elected. Then it was for quite a big group of people, free country. Well, our first constitution, Civil Novi, was found in the 16th century. Then we can just continue that our tradition, which was by bad luck and history lost. I think if European nationalism would go that direction, then it would be not scared to anybody. And still, I would like to inform that in Poland we have 2.5 million migrants coming after 2014, when war in Ukraine started. And they are Ukrainians, Belarusians, Russians, also some people from Chechnya and middle of Asia. Nobody attacked them, and well, they work. Some of them, they move out of Poland because our social system maybe is not very rich and friendly. But if somebody wants to work, then can get permission, work permit, maybe even easier than in Germany or France. Then I think well, just calling Eastern Europe like a resource of bad nationalism is maybe far too, yeah. Yeah, then thank you for listening me, and please, if you have some questions.
Questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, sorry, please go. I didn't see.
I'm not sure, maybe I wasn't listening carefully enough, but he told us about those arguments about, for example, Germany, that they should first develop industry and then have free markets, but we do kind of know that reality sort of goes the other way. So how did it turn out, and what would be, because normally, of course, we need to have free markets to later kind of have anything to redistribute. So how did that work out in reality, and what would be the alternative?
Well, it was not my idea. It was the idea of Mr. Liszt, from German living 19th century. At that time they thought that under some governmental help they create kind of environment for their own business, and which develops industry, and then when they will be ready, then they open the borders. Yeah, just they were scared that free market will. Okay, just of course, if German business would be active, and after many years of competition, also they would build the industry, but they wanted to cut the time, and they. I think that time they also just thought about future wars. Yeah, just when they wanted to have build heavy industry earlier than later. And in my opinion, there are many ways to seal. Yeah, just free market and liberal way. It's like one of roads, but also could be other roads. Yeah, and we cannot. Well, economy is science based on experience, and then we cannot say which road is the best if we will not try it. Okay, some roads we know that were not satisfied, like socialism, like Soviet model, but then when we know it after 50, 70 years of experiment. Just in early 20s, they did not know, and in 19th century, of course, just they, I know that ideas were too young, just to make a kind of research which model was better, which not. Well, in fact, Germany developed the industry when that model of assertive politics gave them results. But also British model also was successful. When it means that probably there are more roads which provide to success, in my opinion.
I think you said that there was 2.5 million immigrants since 2014?
Yes.
How did were they accommodated? Where did they live? Did Did you have camps, or did they actually just
No,
find
they rent rooms, apartments, and they work, and then from work they have money to pay for their living costs. Then, well, okay, from other hand, 2 million Poles emigrated from Poland.
Okay.
Oh.
I see, so they passed through?
Yeah.
Ah, I see.
Yes, so you defined yourself at the beginning as nationalist but pro-market, and then you talked about solidarity, and I kind of interpreted that as being pro-taxes in order to have a kind of redistribution. So my first question, is that your stand? Are you for taxes that would ensure solidarity? So that's my first question. And my second question, in order to protect the nation from foreign competition, would you be willing to raise tariff and be against free trade?
Yes, then just between two models like zero tax and socialist economy, there are a lot of space. When we can think about a system where taxes are acceptable and friendly for taxpayers, and then if economy goes well, then just state will have money for some social politics. And well, just it's like one of the models, yeah. Just after First World War, that model was implemented in Poland, more or less. Successfully, well, in 1926, just budget was in plus, and it was noted economical growth. But then later on we had a putsch of Józef Piłsudski. He was connected to socialist movement, and then that free market model was stopped. Yeah, just then it was like a semi-free market, something like social democrats implemented in 60s. In Sweden and in 30s in Poland, just with socialists, we tried to combine state-owned business, state-owned companies, and private business, and we call it like state capitalism. Yeah, just and you also asked about the tax system, yes? Just,
yeah, I mostly am asking about your point of view for today.
For today, yes. Okay, then, well, Poland now is over-regulated. Then I believe that any free market solutions and simplified system, it would be a good step forward. Yeah, just we have a so bad system, when any step into free market would be better than doing nothing. And because in our neighborhood countries, it's also the problem with big countries, like big states, for Poland would be easy to compete if we start going to that free market programs, even if we even simply just to make our tax system more simple, it will be big progress, and I think give our economy more power. But I will not talk about the models which are impossible to implement because of, for example, because of our nation, which is not prepared for very radical libertarian solutions.
Okay, so to sum up somehow, your point of view is like something like, let's say, welfare state is something that you somehow empathizes with. So you like the situation when we have easy, not so, not like in Poland, very complicated and so on regulations. So we have less regulations, but with transfer. So like basically something like Sweden now, because in Sweden the welfare state is possible because of well-going economy, in case of being not so over-regulated as, or maybe the laws are, let's say, they're together. There are not so many different contradictive points in laws like in Poland, but there are some, but also they have much redistribution like them.
Yes, but I think we could go even one more step further than Sweden. Just if we simplified our tax system, like one VAT, one tax from our profits, and one tax from companies' profits, and one tax from assets would maybe help just to reduce number of hours which each taxpayer has to pay, like yearly. Well, I think in Poland it's like 286 hours. We have to spend just for some bureaucracy procedures. It's like one of the highest in the world, even, yeah, just in Europe for sure. Hours, yeah. Then, yeah, 200. No, sorry, 200. Yes, hours. Yes, 286 hours. Sure, not days. Yeah. Yeah. Well, then, how that redistribution system could look like? Well, right now we have not effective working pension system. And it's like anti-family pension system. Then, like we advise just to pay pensions from from a tax, from income tax, and then some part of that money of taxpayers should go into pension account of parents. When working children would also give some of its profits to their parents, and then if parents had many children and invested into their education and so on, then they would get some price on it. Then we have many such ideas which could make that system which we have now more rational working. Okay.
I'd like to kind of summarize the two presentations and ask you if you agree with me, because Mr. Hering's definition of nationalism emphasized the nation being superior to the individual and having power over individual. But your definition of nationalism emphasizes your own nation being more important to you than other nations, thus trying to do things from the perspective of your own nation's profit. Am I right?
Well, just our nation is not better than other nations, but it's also not worse than other nations. It is just like, just a part of a big family where, we have, of course, competition, but also cooperation. And also, like in that view of nation, is a big room for individuals, and well, in Poland, freedom and individual rights were always very important, and it was like a part of a definition of our nation. But it's like with a family, yeah? Just we have some problems which we understand better because we live here than, for example, problems of Ethiopia, yeah? Because it's more far from us. Even, okay, maybe we understand better our problems than problems of Ukraine or Russia, yeah? Just, but it doesn't mean that we are like against them and want any wars. Then opposite, we try to help Ukraine to bring up the economy and stability, because it's also a good thing for us just to have a stable and rich partners around. Yeah, just rich neighbors. It means when we also have a possibility to be richer.
That was the last question. Thank you.
Thank you.